The vast, indifferent expanse of the ocean is a realm where hope and despair often collide with brutal force. For families whose loved ones vanish into its depths, the initial hours are a maelstrom of frantic hope, fueled by the tireless efforts of search and rescue (SAR) teams. Yet there comes a moment, a specific threshold, when the official search is called off, the resources are withdrawn, and the case is declared closed. For the U.S. Coast Guard, this agonizing decision is often made after a critical 72-hour window, a period determined by complex scientific models of survival probability. But for the families left behind, this administrative closure is rarely, if ever, an answer. It is merely the beginning of a different kind of search, an unending quest for truth and closure that defies the cold logic of statistics and the operational realities of maritime rescue. At the heart of the Coast Guard's decision to suspend a search lies a rigorous, data-driven protocol. SR operations are governed by international conventions and national guidelines, such as the U.S. National Search and Rescue Plan, which outline procedures for deploying assets, defining search areas, and, crucially, determining when to terminate efforts. The 72-hour rule, while not a rigid, universal law, represents a critical inflection point in the probability of survival at sea. This timeframe is derived from extensive research into human physiology, environmental factors, and historical survival data. Factors such as water temperature, the presence of personal flotation devices, PFDs, the physical condition of the missing person, and the severity of the weather all feed into sophisticated drift models and survival probability calculations. For instance, the 1 to 10, 120 rule of thumb, often cited in SR circles, illustrates the rapid decline in survival chances. 1 hour for severe hypothermia without protection, 10 hours for significant deterioration, and 120 hours, 5 days, before survival becomes highly improbable, even with a PFD, depending on conditions. The Kaplan-Meier survival curve, a statistical tool used in medical and actuarial science, can be adapted to model survival probabilities in SAR scenarios, showing a steep drop-off in chances after the initial hours. As time progresses, the search area expands exponentially due to currents and wind drift, making detection increasingly difficult and resource-intensive. The decision to suspend is not taken lightly. It is a calculated, agonizing choice made when the probability of finding a survivor alive falls below a statistically viable threshold, and further efforts would yield diminishing returns while diverting critical resources from other potential emergencies. However, this cold, mathematical reality clashes violently with the emotional landscape of a grieving family. For them, the missing person is not a data point in a survival curve, but a beloved father, mother, sibling, or child. The concept of ambiguous loss becomes central here, the physical absence of the loved one without the certainty of death. This lack of definitive closure can prolong grief, making it difficult for families to move forward. The Coast Guard's answer, that the search is suspended, is perceived not as a conclusion, but as an abandonment, a bureaucratic pronouncement that fails to acknowledge the enduring human need for certainty and a final resting place. The technological advancements in maritime safety, ironically, can sometimes deepen this emotional chasm. Modern vessels are equipped with an array of tracking devices, automatic identification systems, AIS, emergency position indicating radio beacons, EPIRBs, and personal locator beacons, PLBs. These devices are designed to transmit distress signals and location data, dramatically improving the chances of rapid rescue. However, they are not infallible. An EPIRB might fail to activate, a PLB might be lost or damaged, or a sailor might be incapacitated before they can manually trigger a distress signal. When these technologies fail, or when a sailor is swept overboard without a PLB, the search reverts to a more primitive, desperate hunt, relying on visual sightings and drift patterns. The family, aware of these technologies, often struggles to comprehend how, in an age of satellite tracking, their loved one could simply vanish without a trace. True, this discrepancy between technological capability and actual outcome fuels a deep-seated distrust in official pronouncements. Stories abound, often circulated within maritime communities, of cases where official searches were suspended, only for private efforts or chance encounters to later reveal the missing person or vessel. While these instances are statistically rare, they provide a powerful narrative that undermines the authority of the Coast Guard's decision. For example, a fishing vessel might stumble upon a life raft weeks after a search was called off, or a private plane might spot debris in an area deemed too improbable by official models. These occurrences, however infrequent, reinforce the family's belief that more could have been done, or that the official search was simply not thorough enough. The emotional toll on families is immense. They often become amateur investigators, poring over charts, weather reports, and satellite imagery, desperately seeking any clue that might have been missed. They organize crowdfunding campaigns for private aerial searches, enlist the help of volunteer mariners, and dedicate their lives to keeping the memory of their loved one alive, often transforming their grief into advocacy for improved SAR protocols or mandatory safety equipment. This relentless pursuit is not just about finding a body. It is about finding an explanation, a narrative that can bring some semblance of peace to an otherwise unbearable reality. Moreover, the legal framework surrounding maritime deaths can further complicate the family's quest for answers. While the Death on the High Seas Act, DOHSA, provides a pathway for compensation in cases of wrongful death, the official closure of a SAR case often implies that no negligence was found, making legal recourse challenging. The family is left to battle not only the emotional void, but also the legal and bureaucratic hurdles that prevent them from obtaining a full accounting of what transpired. The answer provided by the Coast Guard, a closed case, is a legal and operational necessity, but it is rarely a satisfying one for those who mourn. In conclusion, the moment the Coast Guard closes a search after 72 hours is a stark illustration of the fundamental tension between the objective, data-driven world of maritime rescue and the subjective, emotionally charged world of human loss. For the SAR professionals, it is a difficult but necessary decision, grounded in the science of survival and the responsible allocation of resources. For the family, it is an arbitrary deadline, a cruel pronouncement that their loved one is no longer actively sought. The ocean, in its vastness, becomes a silent accomplice, holding secrets that no algorithm can unlock and no search grid can fully encompass. The family's refusal to accept the official answer is not a rejection of logic, but a testament to the enduring power of love and the human spirit's unwavering need for closure, even in the face of the most profound and unyielding mysteries of the sea. The case may be closed on paper, but in the hearts and minds of those left behind, the search, in its truest sense, never truly ends.